folks? Welcome to Held Captive Media. You might know me as the goth kid in your middle school class, the guy who was in LA Style magazine, or you don't know me at all and you're in the majority. But anyway, on this channel, I'm here with my friend Zane.
Hi.
And my beautiful, lovely Franny.
Hello.
And we review movies, TV, streaming, whatever we can get our hands on. And this week, we're reviewing Shane Black's The Nice Guys. So, The Nice Guys, directed by Shane Black, as previously mentioned, he's known for directing Iron Man 3, as well as writing the Lethal Weapon series. This movie stars Holland March, a former police officer, now drunken loser private eye in 1977 Los Angeles. He's joined by Jackson Healy, played by Russell Crowe, brilliantly in my opinion, but we'll get to that. He's a hired enforcer, fixer type who hurts people for a living, but is showing that he's coming to terms with the fact that maybe that's not who he really wants to be. Circumstances align, and an unlikely alliance is formed between the two after a girl named Amelia, played by Margaret Qualley, mysteriously disappears. All of this set with a very stylistic backdrop of 1970s California. We get a look into the auto industry, the porn industry, industrial espionage, and Richard Nixon. Guys, I loved this movie. Yeah. The reason why I picked this movie, and we'll get into all that later, but one of the big reasons why I picked this movie is I love Shane Black's movie Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. I think it's one of the best buddy cop movies ever, and this is very reminiscent of that. I mean, he wrote the Lethal Weapon series, so he's kind of like the buddy cop king. So for me, before we get into the spoiler review and everything, I'm literally giving this a 9 out of 10. Zane, what did you think of the movie?
I love any buddy cop, not even buddy cop movie, just any like buddy comedy. Like easily some of my favorite movies have to be like Pick a Destiny, Pineapple Express. Just like any time where like two buddies just go off on an adventure. It's always a good time, and it's always something that like somebody's going to be able to relate to, and it just becomes this super fun kind of like romp to go through and just watch how everything goes. I'd probably say I want to give it an 8 or 9 out of 10, but I want to kind of keep my ratings consistent. I'm going to go ahead and give it a 7.5 out of 10 because it's a lot of fun, but
I'm surprised it's not higher.
I don't want. No, I think I'm gonna go ahead and stick with my gut. I think I'm gonna give it that 8 out of 10.
So what you're gonna see here, people, because I just want to say this, is you're going to see a radically erratic rating system. Because just knowing Zane, my personal opinion, and his ideals with films and what he likes, there is going to be a lot of fucking low scores in the future. Anyway, Franny, what did you think of The Nice Guys?
I like this movie a lot. It was actually my second time seeing it.
Mm-hmm.
We saw it years ago, like when it came out. I like it because it is that like buddy comedy movie that I love. Like I love those movies too, but it's kind of like elevated. Like there's another aspect to it. Like it's political in a way.
Yeah, and one of the things I like about it, and this isn't really a spoiler, and it kind of adds on to what you're saying with the buddy cop thing. You know, he's known for writing this Lethal Weapon series, right? And that's like known to be the best buddy cop series of all time. But what I love with The Nice Guys is it's not a story about two totally different rookie cops coming together. It's a story about two guys who are oddly very similar in their shortcomings, but for completely different reasons. And that is like a great element of how it's a bit elevated.
Right. And it's got like the little girl character too.
I love the daughter. We'll get into the daughter stuff. Yeah. I love Bomer in this. He's amazing in it. There's tons of great performances all throughout.
And I feel like aesthetically too, it's a like beautiful movie. Like,
but we'll get into
for what it is.
One of the things that I do really enjoy, I love the fact that as each stage progresses, the stakes incrementally get more and more. Mm-hmm. So it's like it goes from being like fairly low stakes, just like simple things.
Well, yeah.
And as it kind of ramps up, you don't get that kind of like just. There's a lot of times where it's like, oh, they're just off doing this little thing, and then all of a sudden it's like super crazy important things are happening. Getting to actually watch them progress through these little like incremental stake increases is just a lot of fun to kind of watch the characters develop in that way.
Yeah.
And
And
I
we'll
love
get into
that.
the details of those.
Yeah.
Those because what this story really is everything we can talk about. The best things about this movie are the things that I don't want to spoil for you. So in a lot of ways, where he gave it a 7, I really want to desperately defend it.
I didn't get to give
Well,
mine.
no,
we'll get to yours
Okay.
just in a second. I just want to say
Good.
this last bit. But after Franny gives her review, I think I'd also like to talk. The production of this movie is something you guys don't know much about, and that's something that I want to add. But it's only going to make sense to add after we're okay with spoilers, because there's
Okay.
elements of it that really spoil the movie. So, Franny, what was your rating on
Honestly,
this one?
this is like a 8.5 out of 10. I really like this one.
Yeah, so in other words, guys, we're telling you right now, you go watch the movie. I think it was on Hulu for a while. I don't know if it still is, but if it's out there somewhere to rent, it's at like $3.99. It is totally worth that purchase. Grab
Definitely.
popcorn, grab a particular other or your dog, whoever you love to watch movies with, and give this one a try. And when we come back, you guys can come with us and check out the spoilers, whether you watch the movie or not. I recommend you watch it, but if you just want to listen to us talk about it, we'll be right back, baby. And we are back. What's going on? I hope you guys just watched the movie. If you've already seen it, whatever. I hope you guys know what we're about to talk about, because we're about to get into all of these sweet spoilers. Guys, Richard Nixon. Have you guys ever felt any weirder about a Richard Nixon reference in an entire movie ever? I thought that plot element was so fucking genius to have like this near-death experience moment to be reincorporated. So earlier in the movie, if you guys don't know what we're talking about, I'll just go ahead and explain it, or in case you don't remember. There's this scene where the Russell Crowe character is talking to Ryan Gosling, Holland March, and he's talking about how this story of one time his friend was working the Nixon detail after he was already president, and they were on the road and there was a car crash, and Nixon told somebody, "You're going to be okay," and then that person just fucking died. And how fucked up it would be if, like, the real way you die in life is right before you die, you see Richard Nixon and he tells you whether it's going to be okay, and you don't know whether he's real or not.
Yeah.
And you're like, that's so stupid, but it's such a it's awesome at the same time. It's such a throwaway line that when it's reincorporated,
To bring it back.
it is fucking,
It's
that
such
moment
a-
is so funny.
Yeah.
And the thing that's so great about this movie and Shane Black in general is that he is such a fun filmmaker.
I think that was probably like one of my favorite things, is just a lot of the throwaway things. Like they ended up being, is it called Chekhov's gun, or what's not Chekhov's gun, where it's like you show a gun, you use the gun.
Yeah.
A lot of the things where it's like, oh, that was just a funny thing that they said.
That
It
becomes
that thing, and it's like things that it would be like, oh, you would never think that would be used again. He ends up reincorporating things like that, and I think that it's a lot of fun. I know a lot of people are probably going to put me on blast for giving it a 7.
Yeah, and
you guys already are. I'm going to try to not rate things a perfect 10, because there's always something
Well,
that can
alright.
be fixed, but that's
Yeah.
this
So
is
let me explain
easily
my
probably
score,
one of my-
right? I watch a lot of fucking movies. I mean, way more than you could even imagine, right? And I've seen the full spectrum of bullshit, incredible, awful, boring. I've seen everything that you can imagine. And the best part about this movie is it was made in, I think, 2016 or something like that. It was a decent budget-sized movie that wasn't a part of a pre-existing franchise they put out into theaters that was good. And it bombed in the box office. And it really begs the question, like, if an auteur filmmaker can make this good of a movie with no pre-existing concepts, with no fan base to base it off of, it seems like it doesn't really matter nowadays, because
I
that
did
movie
not know
will
that
still
it
fail.
bombed.
So for me, that's why I will praise this movie, because even with some of its shortcomings, I fully see that this is a fully realized auteur's film. Shane Black made the movie that he wanted to fucking make, and because of that, he made a great movie. It wasn't about, oh, we have this pre-existing character who hasn't been shuffled out in a while, let's make a fucking Aquaman movie. No offense to
Right.
Aquaman. Aquaman was fine. I'm not shitting on Aquaman. But
No, absolutely. That's
so for me, Shane Black, considering he's still trying to do that, I mean, he is such an indie filmmaker, they kicked him out of working with the MCU. I mean, that's how intense he is about making sure his vision is realized. And I appreciate that, because this movie was bomb as fuck.
absolutely.
It really
yeah, no.
was.
Better than a 7 out of 10 anyway.
I think I think this is probably, it's got my favorite meet cute in the history of ever.
Yeah.
I know that's a romantic comedy phrase, but that's the way that they fucking meet when he like breaks the arm, and every time.
Yeah, when Russell Crowe's character walks in, and this is the merging point. Amelia, oddly enough, as a character who a lot of parts of this movie isn't even referenced,
Right.
is the catalyst for these two meeting. And so when she shows up at her house, and you're right, with that scene where he's just fucking him up, and Ryan Gosling's trying every chance he can to be the sneaky ex-cop he is, and Russell Crowe's like, don't even fucking try it.
Yeah.
I'll fucking break your arm.
It's
incredible.
It's so much fun watching them play off of each other. I hope they had a great fucking time doing this movie, because I know.
No,
how much
I've been
fun
told
it
by
is.
I've heard like from production notes and people talking about the movie that everyone loved working on that movie, and it was a huge bummer when it didn't succeed the way they wanted it to.
Yeah,
It's crazy that it didn't.
Yeah, I mean it is mind blowing, and you have huge stars. I mean,
Right.
Russell Crowe is somebody that I know people are. They have their own opinions mixed about, but he did fucking. This is his best performance in a long time. This is his best performance since Gladiator. I'll say that. I don't care what people think. It may be a comedic performance, but I mean the way he grabs that fucking yoo-hoo bitch, throws that apple behind him into the shrubbery, and grabs that yoo-hoo from that strange little girl. That's Russell Crowe at his best.
I think one of the things that I do want to just like absolutely just nonstop give Shane Black a bunch of props for, the world building is incredible. Every time you see the PI, like any of the PIs interacting with each other, it is a professional interaction. Does not matter what they are doing, and it's a lot of fun to watch them be like, hey, you're gonna break my shit. I get that.
Yeah.
It sucks.
Yeah.
And then when I think his name in the film is
Blueface?
literally Blueface.
Yes.
And he's like, what the fuck are you doing? You're going to come into my house? You're going to try to make me eat my fish?
Yeah.
And it's like, he's like, you watched Blueface like cross that line. And he was like, hey, this is supposed to be professional. Like,
It's like you break a couple of things, whatever. I fucking get
Yeah.
it. You fucking come in my house and make me eat my fish.
Yeah,
Like-
no, that's not cool.
like every time when the meet cute happens between
I love how you keep referencing it as a meet cute. This
That's what
man,
it is.
this man broke his arm, and then later on, when he ran into him at the bowling alley, he pulled his firearm out without his pants on. It was not a meet cute moment. They melded into being friends throughout the entire feature.
Yeah.
I would not call it a meet cute. It was more like how you and me met. Maybe that's why you think it's
every
cute.
romantic comedy, they bump into each other. That's the meet cute. They end up disliking each other because of that moment, and then they fall in love. And that's
not always a meet cute, but okay. I guess you could call it that if you really want, but that's not the definition. But okay.
I think it is nice
A meet
that
cute is that it's cute that they met. It comes with the fucking territory. There was nothing cute about the situation, but okay.
I was gonna say I think it's nice that like they didn't just start out as buddies.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because
no,
all
no,
the
no.
buddy comedies usually-
But it's not a meet. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
He's right. That scene where the way they're introduced to each other is awesome.
I mean, it's kind of a meet cute though,
That's
See,
exactly.
this is
how
what
a
I knew
meet
was
cute
going to
works.
happen.
right?
I knew this was going to happen.
I'd say next movie we review, it's gonna have to be a romantic comedy, and we're gonna like decide
about
on
meet
what
cute.
we consider.
More
the
like I
meet
need to
cute.
get a different panel judge so you two don't just have the exact same opinion on things. So I'm not ganged up on. It's not a meet cute. It doesn't matter.
I mean,
it doesn't matter.
what is a meet cute? You know,
When
It's
you
two
meet and
people-
it's cute, that's a meet
I
cute.
mean, it's kind of cute the way they met.
Okay, whatever. Anyway, another great part of the movie. Let's talk about John Boy. All right, let's talk about
Yeah.
Matt Bomer's character. So the introduction of him. There's been all this buildup of John Boy. Blueface's death is the beginning of the introduction of that character. He's basically like threatening him, like Darth Vader's coming, like you're fucked. The Emperor's coming. You're totally done. John Boy's on his way. And then there's this annoying friend of, I think her name is it June March? Is that her name? Is the kid's name June? What's the little girl's name? Do you remember?
Are you talking about how her friend?
Yeah,
They keep like.
yeah, but what's the actual daughter's name? I don't remember. I think it's
forget.
June.
I
I
can look it
remember.
I think it's
Yeah.
like June March. I really do, but I'm not sure. Anyway, so
Wait, is it actually June March?
I think it is. Yeah,
That's really funny.
that's
I
what.
hope
But I
that
could
it
be
is.
wrong. It could also
Yeah.
not be that. It could be something else.
Holly March.
Holly,
Holly
because he's
March.
Holland. That's what it is. Okay.
Yeah.
So Holly, her friend's over there, and like she's on the phone with another friend, and she's describing the serial killer that's after them.
Yeah.
That's like the kid from the Waltons, and like makes this joke about the kid with the huge mole on his face, and then you come in that moment, the movie reveals to you why they call him John Boy. Because he has a huge fucking mole on his face, like the character from the Waltons. And that discovery moment is so well done and so fucking funny.
Yeah.
And then he grabs this little girl and throws her through the window.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, so this isn't your daddy's action film. They're gonna do things that people are not cool with, and I love that. Makes it so much more entertaining.
Yeah.
And John Boy as a villain was just. If it wasn't Matt Bomer, I feel like it wouldn't have been as creepy. He was so unsettling as this character because he never like is. He's usually so charming and like human, and he was so like no emotions,
Very
weird
distant
bangs
the whole time.
Yeah,
And the like when he initially comes in to like trick the daughter and her friend into letting him into the house, and they like go through and you get to watch that little like realization happen in Holly. It was like really interesting to watch just like him go from like being on to off.
Not to mention the reincorporation of Cookie Jar Gun, which is used 3 times in the movie.
Yeah.
There are 3 different references to there being a gun in the cookie jar.
Yeah.
That including the big moment where she puts the gun on John Boy, which I think the only John Boy scene where I was like, man, I don't know about that conclusion is when he just comes across, like she's running away from their house and then she just like jumps on his car and like runs across it. You know, like runs into John Boy after the fact. I wasn't super into that. I feel like there's a way more creative way he could have like gotten to her than that. But at the same time, in a movie where it's actively trying to suspend your disbelief and being like, this is an element of the story. You know, Misty Mountains is going to roll through this kid's fucking house and you have to accept that.
Yeah, I do like that it's like a realistic.
Yeah. Like it has, like it pulls these ridiculous concepts and it's like, you're going to treat them seriously. We're going to go to an anti, like, you know, smog fucking protest. We're going to go to a pollution protest and fight with these dirty hippies in the 70s. And it's going to come off so real to you, even though it's like this huge comedic scene and the introduction of Chet.
I fucking love Chet. I just remember as soon as I saw Chet in the back of the car, I'm like, I hope this motherfucker comes along the entire goddamn movie because he's such a nothing fucking character, and for him to be reincorporated back in just made my heart explode.
And one of my favorite scenes from the movie, which is takes a little bit place a little bit after that, is when you have Russell Crowe's character and Ryan Gosling, and happens to be Holly as well, even though she wasn't supposed to be there, at the big porn industry party.
Yeah,
the porn industry party scene is one of the funniest scenes, just ever. You have this drunkard cop, ex-cop, just getting
wandering.
fucked up, doing LSD, drinking relentlessly, swimming with mermaids, and he fucking falls off a cliff and literally rolls into the dead body and tries to play it off like good detective work. And I thought, this is a Zane moment. But other than that, I also thought, like, wow, that's such a fucking funny way of doing. And he lost his gun, like the physical comedy as well as the ridiculous situations they put Ryan Gosling in. If he wasn't so likable, you'd fucking hate this character.
And that's think
true.
one of the things that, like, to reference back to your John Boy, what you were talking about with John Boy, the fact that you were talking about how it's like, oh, well, that's a little like, yeah, you have to suspend your disbelief. They've already set up that precedent. Like the idea that Ryan Gosling would fall down the hill, end up next to the body. They do stuff like that, and it's played because like this is a serious movie, but at the same time, it's a comedy, and it's a great way that they kind of blend those together.
I'm so glad you said that because this is what I'm actually going to use to mention something you talked about earlier.
Yeah.
Where you said it builds more throughout the movie. I disagree, Gary. I disagree, and here's why. I think that the early parts of the movie that are just fun and you think don't have a lot of stake, all of those scenes are doing immense character development.
Yeah.
The break-in to the bar after hours by Ryan Gosling where he fucking punches through the window and starts to bleed out is absolutely like this amazing scene that, yes, I guess didn't have to happen and maybe slow down the movie, quote unquote, a little bit. But what it also did was give us entirely who that character is in that scene. And then the same thing goes with as soon as you see Russell Crowe punch that weirdo who's dating that 13-year-old and talk about being a better person, you instantly get, oh, he's a Hollywood fixer with a conscience. Okay. Yeah. Oh, Ryan Gosling. Oh, he's a fucking buffoon.
Right.
He's a drunken buffoon.
The thing that I like about like watching that happen when he realizes he's not going to get it in one way and decides to go another way, like, yeah, in a perfect world, like in what you would imagine a movie world, that would totally work. And it's like he knows what to do from like a movie standpoint, but then Shane Black does a great job of putting almost the real world into it, where it's like, oh, like, yeah, in a movie, you should be able to punch this out and then you would get to the thing that you need. But in the real world, sometimes you're going to fucking cut an artery.
Yeah, exactly. And he uses hyper realism in contrast to his suspending of disbelief.
Another great
That's
example.
something that you see in Lethal Weapon and his writing in Lethal Weapon.
I've never
up and
seen
down.
that. I want to see that now.
Those are super. They're just like classic cop movies. Lethal Weapon 2 has the best runaway shooting scene of all time, where he doesn't shoot the guy, so he just gets mad and points up at the sky and goes "Gah!" and like unloads his gun. Yeah. It's an incredibly symbolic moment in film history. That moment written by this great auteur filmmaker.
Yeah.
And he does that. That's like one of his strengths. Is like there's this ridiculous character who's breaking all these universal rules constantly with the way they act. Yeah. But you put them in front of the force of the real world kicks back. Oh, we have a ridiculous detective who can't smell anything. Well, that's great for a fun scene, but it also has real life consequence, literally in the sense that his wife dies because of gas he can't smell.
Yeah.
Russell Crowe trying to be a good guy all the time resulted in his arm getting fucked up, which then resulted in him nearly dying in one of these chase scenes.
But also, I feel like he even says he became a good guy because he liked the praise that he got. Yeah. And that's why, like, when he decided that that's why he had to take the high ground. So at the end of the day, it was still a selfish thing, which brings it back to the real world.
And that's where I think the title is such a strength too. So the original title was Private Dicks, which I think is funny.
Yeah.
But I like Nice Guys because you can argue feasibly that Ryan Gosling's character was a nice guy based on status when he was a police officer, according to the period.
Yeah.
He's a nice guy, but he's really not.
Yeah.
And then Russell Crowe, well, he's a bad guy because he's a fixer, but also he's not a bad guy because he actually cares about whether Holly sees a dead body.
Right.
He cares whether she continues to speak to him if he kills someone. Mm-hmm. He wants to change his life. He felt good about saving the people's lives in that diner. He's a nice guy. Both of them, you could argue, are nice guys, but are not the same nice guy.
Right.
And I think that was a great use of the title,
that's
too.
That's why the dichotomy of them together works so well, I feel.
Mm-hmm.
I did want to circle back another thing that, just like with the window punching, when they go to do the airport thing, when he's like,
oh my God, he's so certain.
He knows exactly. He's like, no, I'm the star of the film. This is absolutely gonna work. And then it totally fucking backfires.
Doesn't work at all.
Still works for him. And it's one of those things where it's like, it's like, hey, this is a movie, so you know, like, oh, he came up with the right idea, but he actually didn't. But it still worked out because it's still a fucking movie.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things where I love kind of getting to watch him back and forth with that.
Franny, what was your favorite scene? I'm curious.
My favorite scene?
Yeah, because we haven't heard much of what you thought.
I love it's such a dumb scene, but I like when Holly is like in the porn industry party and they're just like watching and they're just like watching that one girl's movie and she's just
like, you shouldn't be watching this either. And the girl goes, I'm in it.
Yeah. No, it's such a like funny scene. I just love all the events that took place at that party so much.
Yeah, that party, I mean.
And I love like Holly's like adventure through it. Like she is like mature beyond her age. And then like
how serious is it?
How serious it gets fast.
When literally she wasn't supposed to be at this party. Holland thinks she took a cab home.
Right.
He's walking away. He sees people acting like assholes driving off all aggressively. And the fucking usher, the dude who's taking all the keys, he goes, hey, that girl that came with you's in that car. And you see a switch in Ryan Gosling's character where he's like, I may be a drunken fool who can barely walk, but I will kill anyone who has my kid.
Yeah.
And that scene where they're chasing him and, you know, you're hoping that Russell Crowe's character is going to like save them because Ryan Gosling keeps crashing because he's fucked up. Yeah. But that is like a real character moment where you're reminded, like, okay, Ryan Gosling isn't just the comic character. He's going through some real hardships.
Right.
And this party is showing, like,
I think
the worst of his intentions and the worst of his hobbies.
probably one of my I think it might be my favorite scene in the movie is when you do get to have like a real good serious scene with Russell Crowe and Holly sitting there, and he's like,
When she's talking about, like, where her house used to be and
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
It's a great scene.
Oh,
yeah.
that is great
and they,
too.
it's just like it's heartbreaking.
It's definitely
'cause
like
that's when
above
you
7 out of 10
learn-
scene. So, yeah.
I said 7.5.
Okay.
I
by the
thought
way.
you landed on 8.
I did.
Yeah.
I went to switch to an 8, but he's still referencing the fact that I said
No,
7.5.
he landed on an 8.
Yeah.
That's fine.
I said I initially thought like 8 or 9 out of 10, but I want to not be just like giving these really high ratings.
So
I
here's
wanna
the deal,
try to-
Zane. Here's the deal, Zane. I will forever torture you about things that you say, even if you don't mean to say them.
Yeah.
That's called comedy, and I'm going to keep doing it. And you said a 7.5 out of 10, and you were wrong.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
No. And
But
like
No,
this
no,
movie
clearly-
absolutely did not deserve to bomb, and that's
No,
one
no.
thing that even if I give it a 7.5 out of 10, which again I bumped it up to that 8 because it is just a great movie. If anybody was like, oh well, it wasn't that great, it shouldn't have gotten.
I could see how
it's
people.
absolutely.
I could see how people could watch this movie and not get it and be like, "Listen, it's just not my cup of tea." Okay, fine. It's very. But if your audience idea was, I want a good cop thriller or a detective thriller with comedy and great performances,
And
there's
it's
no
fun.
feasible reason why you wouldn't like this movie. I think that it's well made and well acted, well directed. This is just one of those things where like everything was firing on all cylinders, except the audience just didn't want it. And that sucks, but that's kind of why channels like us exist, to tell you, like, if you're into great movies, this is genuinely a great movie that I don't think a lot of people have seen. I know that it was your first time for you
Yeah.
and Lacey watching it when I showed it to you guys. Whenever I show it to anybody, it's always the first time they've ever seen it. And I'm like, it's a really great movie. I wish that Warner Brothers cared enough to like put it on HBO Max or something, because I
Right.
think it would kill on streaming.
Yeah, definitely.
This is a movie that, like, it's like Ingrid Goes West. Like, it's a movie that did nothing at the box office, but that word of mouth could totally revitalize it
Yeah,
and make it a cult
absolutely.
classic. So go watch it. Tell your friends about it. You know, let people know that it's actually a good movie. I know you're sick of seeing bad ones. So, like, be like, if you want to watch something good that's, like, kind of newer and not from 89, here's a good movie that came out in the last, like, decade.
Right.
So that was your favorite scene, you'd say, was the...
I would say, yeah, probably easily my favorite scene was just
My favorite
watching
scene.
it get real.
My favorite scene is literally when they show up at the protest. That protest scene
That's
is
pretty good.
so fucking it is also a capturing moment for the period. I mean, like, that felt like a scene that was shot from the 70s. This whole movie feels very authentic.
I think that the thing I at points almost forgot that it was a period piece, just because, like, one, the story that they're telling is so classic, but it just felt so seamless in everything
Genuine,
that was happening.
yeah.
Like, it didn't feel over the top. Like I like Stranger Things, but a lot of the stuff is very fan servicey in Stranger Things, where they're like, oh, we've got new Coke. It's like they weren't doing random shit like that. It was just meant to be like, hey,
Yeah.
this is a time period that services the story,
Yes.
not the other way around.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It services the story. The story does not service the time period. But it is great, and it does that automatically because of
Right.
how good it is. But it wasn't made with that intention. It was like, this is going to be the backdrop of our film. We're going to make a really good film that's in this time period, and you can accept it or not. And I think that even just the introduction tells you everything about what you're going to think of the movie. If you can't accept that a little boy looking at a porno mag's life was uprooted because the woman on the cover went flying through his house in a car naked and then said, "How you like my car, big boy?" and then dies. If you can't accept that to be fact, this movie will be a problem.
Yeah.
I think that's the ultimate thing, is be ready to suspend some disbelief and just have fun. You know, it's very Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas in that way, where it's like, it's asking you to do things that you're like, I don't fucking know if I can even remotely handle this. And for some people, that's cool. But if you can suspend that disbelief, it's a fucking ride. Is there anything else you guys wanted to say about it?
No, I really like this movie, but I feel like we got across a lot of the reasons why.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's another one of those things where
People just need to see this movie. I feel like not
It's-
enough people have.
You know,
Like
it's
I
made
said-
by the king of
Yeah.
buddy cop movies, and it's a
Yeah.
buddy cop
Yeah.
movie. If that's what you're into, this is the spot.
Like when
Right.
I think when you initially told me like, "Hey, have you ever seen this movie?" I was like,
oh yeah.
I thought it was the other guys with
Yeah.
Will
I'm a
Ferrell.
I'm a peacock. You gotta let me fly.
Fly.
I'm like, you know, our really fancy film review channel we're starting. Do you want to start with Will Ferrell and Mark Wahlberg's The Other Guys? That's a great
Oh.
kicking off movie for showing that we care about film.
Yeah.
Right.
But no, and it's like if that just goes to show you how buried this guy
Just unknown, yeah, unknown.
because recently I haven't been able to watch as many movies as I love to watch movies. I just love I love any storytelling, but the fact that this just totally went under my radar when it's absolutely right up my alley. I love buddy cop.
Yeah.
I love buddy comedies, and I love like that kind of just fun ride to go on. It's sad that it got kind of swept under the rug.
Yeah, I mean, it sucks. And, you know, another little fun thing, if you're somebody who really likes, you know, your films have, like, the director have its personality, like, you know, Edgar Wright has his own little style he throws into things. Shane Black does this fun thing where every single movie he makes, no matter whether it's Iron Man 3, Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, whatever, he puts a Christmas scene in it. And there's a Christmas scene in this movie. There at the scene at the end with the bar, okay? The scene at the end with the bar, there's like all this Fiesta music going and Christmas lights up, and you're like, why is this in this movie? But like he puts that in all of his movies because he feels no matter how dark and dreary the story, whatever it may be, no matter the sentiment that the film's even trying to get across, there should be an ounce of joy in the film experience. So there's a Christmas scene in every one of his movies, and I love that about it.
Yeah, that's fun.
Yeah.
All right, I think we can. Let's go ahead and just get into like a game. At the end of all of these reviews, we always play like a little game, whether it be like, you know, what was it, bang, murder, kill, whatever, or
Fuck, marry,
fuck,
kill.
marry,
Fuck,
kill,
marry, kill, yeah.
bang, murder, or kill. Yeah, doesn't exactly leave any room for. I don't like attachments. No, but no. What I was thinking is this was such a great movie that will never get a sequel. It will never happen.
No.
No matter how much it becomes a cult classic, it's impossible. So, what would you guys pick as a sequel? Zane, I'm interested to hear your thoughts first.
Okay, so I'd probably if I was gonna come up with
My only rule is it has to still be Russell Crowe and has to still be Ryan. I mean, everything else can change, even the director.
So I think having them starting up their detective business, because they like he slides over that little thing.
I
Just
look Puerto Rican in that picture.
Yeah. Having that just like start up and giving them just like a case that is so beyond anything that they should be handling, like almost like a Jacques Cousteau sort of like Pink Panther style. Watching those two
That'd be
just
funny.
like okay, now you're gonna prevent an art heist or something, just like some big multi-million-dollar crazy bullshit where it's just like these should not be the guys who are covering that. I would love to just watch them entirely out of their element, try to figure that out. And I feel like those two characters would play so well in being in that sort of fish out of water style story.
For me, the sequel that I want to make, the political espionage in this movie is so funny. Like the way that like politics and like, you know, big industry play a part in this movie, it comes out of nowhere, but it's pretty strong, I think. And I think what I would want to do is like, because they had this huge moment where they got like involved in this big political thing, what if they made a sequel where they're the fixers in this big political espionage stint that they don't even know the full like repercussions of?
Yeah.
And they get involved with way too serious of people as a result.
Yeah.
And it's him, Holly, and Russell Crowe's character just trying to get out.
Yeah.
I think that would be a fun way to do it because the best moments in this film, and I don't care what anybody says, it's when Ryan Gosling is scared out of his mind. He
Yeah.
is such a great physical actor in this that it would be so good to put them in a situation where they're like, Zoink, Scoob, these gangsters are going to beat us up. I want that throughout because I also want to see Russell Crowe fight that part of the character that he did in this last movie where he's like, I'm not going to kill this person. Put him in a situation where he's not willing to kill anybody and it's all people that want to kill them.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's pretty good. That's funny. I was kind of thinking along the same lines in a way. I was thinking like Black Opsy, like kind of
Black
like
Ops, yeah.
Make
working
them
for like
spies.
yeah,
They're just working for the CIA.
yeah,
Like,
Oh my
all of a
God.
sudden, Russell Crowe and Ryan Gosling in Covert Affairs.
yeah.
Yeah, all of a sudden they're just working with Frank Abagnale trying to figure
Yeah.
out who's writing these
Like,
false checks.
hey, like, aren't you John Boy? No, I'm Neil Caffrey now. It's fine. Just like on USA Today.
There's like two people who get that white collar reference, and everybody else is like, why are they talking about that now anyway? But yeah, I think that's what I'd have my sequel be, definitely.
Yeah.
Okay,
I
guys.
love the idea. You're like make a TV show out of it.
Yeah.
Put that shit on USA and say right next to Burn Notice and everything.
Yeah, make them.
Well, you know,
If we get
I
a
think
long
that
form.
they could do a short series, maybe even like
Yeah.
why not give us a series and have it jump a decade? You know,
Yeah.
it's almost been. I mean, we're going by the time this thing would even be made, it'd be 10 years after. Let's put it in the 80s.
Yeah.
Los Angeles in the 80s.
Yeah.
I like
Let's
that.
get a look at that. Let's see how that would be. I mean, I think that could be a really fun concept.
Yeah.
Anyway, guys, tell us what you would make as a sequel for The Nice Guys, or if you would not do it because you hated the movie. Write all your opinions down in the comments below because we genuinely want to know. And if you guys liked listening to us give our reviews, talk about movies, whatever, you can check out our social medias. They'll either be on the screen or they'll be in the description. But we do tons of stuff. Mainly, we review movies and TV shows on this channel as of right now. So, guys, thank you so much. And make sure to subscribe and share with your friends.
Yes.
Thank
you.
Zane, thank you for being here. Franny, thank you for being here. I appreciated it, guys.
No problem.
Thanks.
Have a good night, y'all.